Okay, it's 2013. It's January 2nd. We didn't waste any time here. We had the first. Everybody went, had a little eggnog. Very little booze, right? Say yes.
Yes.
Okay, got a good night's sleep. I was actually in bed. I went to dinner at 6. I was in bed and asleep by 10:30. I don't know if the ball dropped or not. I have no idea. And I didn't watch the Rose Parade because I was working on this kind of stuff. I did watch Stanford beat Wisconsin, which is always kind of, just a complete side note, you don't get into Stanford on an athletic scholarship, okay? You only get into Stanford if you have real brains. I mean, they don't just bring people in because they're great football players or great athletes. You also have to, and many great athletes have been turned away from Stanford because they have the physical skills, great skills, but they don't have the academics. So think about this. The center, the linemen, the guards on that team all have brains enough to get into Stanford. Think about it. That's an amazing team. Think. That's fabulous. So these are not only great athletes, they're scholars. I mean, to have a child that goes to Stanford or any one of those kind of universities is pretty spectacular. It's very cool. So write these numbers down, 2013. Write down the number 95. Write down the number 156. Write down the number 850,000. Write down the number 1,000,004. And write down the number 550,000. You got it? Sure. 95, 156, 850,000, 1,000,004, and 550,000. Very important numbers, part of our discussion today. 95 represents the number of transactions that went into escrow December 2010 for our company. 95 deals in 2011 in our company, all right? Decent, not bad. It's December. 95 transactions, almost 100 deals went into escrow. And that year, that was worth $850,000 gross commission income that you agents and the company would split. We talked about running through the finish line. We talked about the importance of running through the finish line. We talked about focusing on running through the finish line from October through December 31st. I wouldn't talk to anyone about their goals. I wouldn't talk to anyone about what they wanted to try and achieve for next year. Anyone that approached me and said, come on, let's talk about what do you think I can do next year? How do you think I can do it? I would refocus you on what? Let's go get another listing, or let's make another sale today, or let's talk to somebody about doing business now. Because my concern was that once you take your eye off the ball and you start talking about next year, it's a self-fulfilling prophecy that you stop thinking about this year. So that was my focus. We did a little bit of it in 2011, but we did a real big job in 2012. So we did 95 transactions and $850,000 worth of new open business last year ago, December. This December, because of your effort, your focus, your consistency, your commitment, the fact that I beat you on a daily basis, your coaches were nagging you, driving you crazy, calling you, what are you doing, where are you, how come you're not at the Blitz, what's happening, you collectively put 156 deals into escrow. 95 in 2011, 156 last December. For a $1.4 million in commission income generated to you guys. That means from December to December, you earned collectively an additional $550,000 because you decided to run through the finish line. $550,000 more by running through the finish line. Think about that. You guys with me on this? By doing what you were supposed to do, by coming in and working December 31st, by coming in and working December 24th, by coming in on the 26th or the 27th of December, we had that huge blitz in Irvine. We had almost 40 people calling from the Irvine office for 3.5 hours that day. It's a testament to you, your work, your effort. That made the difference in some of your transactions. Some of you earned Centurion because of it. Some of you didn't do all that you should have done and didn't. And that's what we need to focus on in 2013. So, I wrote down here, after watching a bowl game yesterday afternoon and the Orange Bowl last night, I said, think about all the sports teams that have a training camp every year. Every sports team we know about has a training camp every year in every different sport. They bring in every year, the beginning of the season, just prior to, for 2 or 3 weeks, they bring in their team, whether they're the highly paid veterans or the rookies looking for a job. They have a sports camp. They have team training, this training camp. And they participate in this camp. Even if they're earning hundreds of thousands of dollars, some of them even millions of dollars a year come to this training camp. Not so real estate agents. Real estate agents, they don't go to training camps too often. They don't go back to basics too often. They don't work on the basic skills too often because most of us real estate agents, we're kind of cool. We can wing it. It doesn't matter that we have $10, $15, $20, $30,000 in a commission check sitting right there, and we're competing against 2, 3, 4, 5 other great agents for that listing. We decide to go in and wing it. We didn't practice our scripts. Scripts aren't for me. I don't need them. I didn't do my pre-listing package. I'll do it next time. I'll get it done next time. There's no point of difference between us. So I wrote down here, some of you listened to us and your coaches since October and focused on running through the finish line, and it was a huge success, gigantic success for some of you by doing what you're supposed to be doing on a regular basis. I'm going to actually ask you to listen to us just a little bit longer. Don't run out the door. So here's the plan. Let's take the time between now, today, and the 21st of January, which is when the one-on-one retreat starts. Write down 13 work days. Write it down. 13 work days. What I want to do is propose to you a training camp that we're going to do for 13 work days. Not 13 days straight, not including weekends. You still get the weekends off, okay, right? Say yes. Yes. Okay? But 13 work days between now and the retreat. And what I want you to do, and in that period of time, we're going to have a business planning event on the 16th in Brea. So and that includes one of those, like a half of that day off. So what I want you to do is I'm going to pass out a form before the end of the meeting, and I'm going to ask you to determine where your business came from last year. Not a hard thing. If you need a report as to the number of transactions that you did, and you can line out where they came from. Were they from expireds? Were they from past client sphere? Were they old expireds? Were they from probates? Were they from probate attorneys? Where did the business come from? Signs, open house, doesn't matter where it came from. Just determine where the business came from. Then I want you to take the next 13 days and not do those activities. I want you to do something different, something out of your comfort zone, something you don't usually do. So, I wrote down here, remember, if you do what you've always done, you will get what you've always got. We talk about that, right? Yeah. But not last year, and not the year before it, in my belief, not going forward in 2013. I believe if you continue doing what you've always done, at the level that you've done it, you will now get less next year. Your competition's higher. It's more difficult to do a transaction. People are making decisions differently today. Remember the competition, we talked about this. For the last 4 or 5 years, agents were leaving the business. So you had less and less competitors. People that wanted to list their home wouldn't necessarily list with their niece and nephew that just recently got in the business because they needed a seasoned professional to maneuver the marketplace over the last 4 or 5 years. Not so much today. Not so much. It's a little easier to sell a home in 2013, 2012 than it was in 2007, 8, 9, and 10. It's a little easier. That's your competition. So if you continue doing what you've done, and you said, well, look, I don't really care. You know, I make $100,000 last year. That's a good number for me. I'm very happy with it. Maybe I could do one more open house, you know, do something a little bit different. Maybe I could make $110,000. I'm here to tell you, you're going to make less, not more. You cannot do the same thing in 2013 that you did in 2012 and expect to make the same money. So if you're happy with what you were earning and you don't change and crank it up a little bit and do some different activities, you're going to make less money in 2013. Fact. So, I wrote down here, if you always call, then do some door knocking. So write that down. If you always call, then do some door knocking now. If you always do doors, make some calls. I wrote down there, if you go to see expires at the door, but you don't door knock around it, then this time go to the expired, but door knock 10 around it. You guys get me? I'm not telling you to stop doing. I'm asking you to add pieces to it, and only for 13 work days. This is training camp. This is your training camp. This is where you're going to work on some skills that you need to work on to make yourself more valuable to you and the rest of the team. Your team is your family. Your team depends on you. Your team is expecting you, hopefully, to make money for next year. To bring in the things that are going on. You're going home and saying, wow, the market's getting better. I feel better. Your family feels better. There's a little bit of hope in the air. But yet you're not bringing home more money. How come, Dad? Why not, Mom? Have them call me. I'll tell them. Okay, I promise. Okay, I won't be mean. I'll just take out the MAP program, the Master's Advantage program, and I'll go down the list and I'll say, does your significant other, your husband, your wife, you know, brother, sister, person that depends on you, these are the items that they're supposed to do on a regular basis, not every day, not at the highest intensity, but consistently. And let's see which they do and what they don't do. I wrote down here, if you do a 5 and not a 5-5-10, why don't you do some 5-5-10s and not just a 5? Or if you're doing a 3-3-2, do a 3-3-10. Change it up a little bit. 13 working days. This is, I'm not going to call it boot camp. This is training camp. This is training camp. This is where the pros go before the game. Before the real season, this is where the pros go. We have to sometimes slow down to speed up. I wrote down here, find 5 role play partners and actually role play every day for the 13 work days. Actually role play 30 minutes for the next 13 work days. I wrote down here, write out your scripts and internalize them. The ones that you don't know, write them down. I say this every single year, probably once a quarter, okay? My very first listing 40 years ago was a for sale by owner on Beverly Boulevard in Northwest Whittier. The objection 40 years ago was what? The commission split. They didn't want to pay 6%.
No.
Yeah, it's true. And 40 years later, let's fast forward it. Go out on a for sale by owner. What do they tend not to want to do? What's their objection? Commission split. Hasn't changed in 40 years. And yet, some of us don't know how to handle it at a really high level. So when it comes at us, we can take care of it. I wrote down here, upgrade everything you're doing. Write that down. Upgrade everything you're doing. Over the next 13 days, work on upgrading everything you're doing. Get your pre-listing package upgraded. Take a look at it. Make sure it's got the spelling errors are out of it. Make sure your picture is updated. You know, that's another one too. Get your pictures off your cards. It's costing you guys money. Okay, it really is. Some of you, your cards don't look like your pictures, or when you walk in, it's not the same. It's just a problem. Get rid of it. We're getting older. It's just part of the deal. We are. Okay? We are. Take your picture off your cards. Take your picture out of your pre-listing package. You don't need it in there. Put more good meat in there. More information, more things that you're going to do for the client. Featured benefits. Featured benefits. Your picture isn't going to sell the house. Honest. Might scare some buyers away. I don't know. Be careful. I wrote down here, guys, get a couple new shirts and a couple new ties, and if you can afford it, get a couple new suits. Okay? Do it. Invest a couple dollars. There's great sales out there right now. Fabulous sales. Okay, I'm not telling you to go buy, Zegna suits. I'm telling you, just upgrade yourself. Gals, same thing. Same thing. Look and act like the professional. All right? I wrote down here, make sure your car is clean in and out. If you're thinking about buying a car, great time to do it right now. Fabulous deals on cars. Tremendous. They're wanting to, unbelievable kind of deals going on these cars. I wrote down here, work on your sales skills. Practice, 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 practice. Because this is a training camp, and the harder we work, the better results we're going to get in 2013. That's what these guys and gals go to these training camps to do. But they work on their skills sometimes before they even get to the training camp. So that when they get to the training camp, they can be viewed as a professional, ready to get in there and do their job. We need to do the same thing between now and the one-on-one retreat. I wrote down here, there's 5 thoughts to think about to work on during the next 13 work days. Let's write these down. It's 5 thoughts to think about and work on during the next 13 days. Number 1, manage your time and your schedule. Manage your time and your schedule. When you set up your schedule, include at least 9 hours of productive work in every workday. At least 9 hours of productive work. It doesn't include lunches. Doesn't include talking to your buddies. Doesn't include Facebook. God, if I could figure out how to cut Facebook out of here. And your emails, 90% of your emails are family conversations or problems that you have at home or go pick up the cleaning. You're killing yourselves. Focus on your job for 9 hours a day. Focus, that's it. Not 24, 9. Give it a great 9. Just for those 13 days. Keep in mind the number one reason you get off schedule is because of avoidable distractions. Avoidable distractions. Stuff that gets in your face when you don't need it. Number 2, I wrote down here, look for buyers and seller leads every day. Look for buyer and seller leads every day. You want to work on your business plans now? That's fine. Business plan working is before 6 in the morning and after 9 o'clock at night. Okay? We have time for business plan. We have an event coming up on the 16th. We'll work on it for 2.5, 3 hours that day. And then you've got 3 days of the Mike Ferry event. But there's no reason, none, zero, for you to be working on paperwork of your business plan during time when you could be looking for business. Let me share this thought with you. Your competitor, this is January 2nd, your competitors are nowhere to be found. And they're going to be nowhere to be found until about the 15th to 20th of January. Then it starts to ramp up slightly until about the 15th of February. And then people are kind of back at full tilt. But between now and the 20th of January, when you go out to present an offer, and you go out to show property, there's very little competition out there right now. Because less buyers, less real estate agents. Get it? Less real estate agents. So if you have an offer on a piece of property, instead of having 25 or 30 offers on the same property that you have a buyer that you're trying to get a deal done on, you're going to end up with only 1 or 2, maybe 3 other offers. You'll have time to put your deal together. Now that goes away 5 weeks from now. But you have it today. You have it right now. Take advantage of it. Some of you took advantage of it over the last couple weeks and did a few more deals than you would normally have done in December. Look at that. 156 transactions in December. And I don't want to get started on the fact that we did very little business after the Christmas party. But next year, the Christmas party's on the 31st. We'll talk about that later. Jeez. I have this conversation with the staff and some agents all the time. Why do you do the Christmas party so late, so close to Christmas? Why do you do that? The answer, 40 years of doing this, is that the minute I throw the Christmas party, it's like the key gets turned off. I'm giving you permission to stop working. I didn't. Honest. I didn't say it was okay. But somehow that act of the party gives permission. I didn't do it. Okay? So right now, refocus for those 13 days. Look for buyer and sellers every day. Remember, we are in the meet the people business. Write that down. We are in the meet the people business. We are in the meet the people business. If you're not on an appointment in our business, you cannot make money. If you're not on an appointment, in our business, you cannot make money. Can't be done. I wrote down number 3, turning your leads into an appointment. We all have leads. We all have leads. But what you probably don't realize, or maybe you painfully realize, I'm not sure, is that your leads are also my leads. And my leads are also your leads. And Susie's leads are Mary's leads. And Mary has the same leads as Michael. And oh darn, what are you going to do about it? What you're going to do, I wrote down here, is the longer you take to convert a lead into an appointment, the greater the chance that someone else has already closed that lead. The longer you take to convert that lead into some kind of an appointment, the odds increase dramatically that they're going to do business with somebody else. Could be a hot, great lead. But if you're not on it, doing something about it, that's where you're going to have a problem. And sometimes you'll say to me, well, yeah, but Neil, there's no property to show them. Then I'll ask my famous question. Have you talked to all the old expireds in the neighborhoods that they're interested in? No. We'll consider doing that. Okay? There's hundreds, maybe thousands of old expireds out there. People that were listed over the last year, 2 or 3, that if they were brought up to speed about what's happening in the marketplace and the fact that they could get the price they were asking or maybe more in today's market, they might consider buying or selling their house. That's an opportunity. But you need to move. You need to take action. I wrote down here, become tighter with your leads. Think of them as leads that will vanish within 5 or 10 days if you don't take action. So you got to call everybody back right away. You have to reposition them, and you have to determine, are they a now lead or are they a tomorrow lead? If they're a tomorrow lead, why are they a tomorrow lead? Did they sell you on them being a tomorrow lead, or did